Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's always a very difficult spot to speak after Roland because he really excites the whole environment, and then he makes such a good speech every time. And obviously, he gave us a lot of good goodies as well. So my name is David, and I represent Tapjoy. Basically, I manage the Tapjoy business for China and the rest of APAC, other than Korea and Japan. 3 years, 4 years ago, Tapjoy decided to go international, and we start our operations in Japan, Korea, and China. I think for the past 3 years, the Tapjoy business in APAC has been growing very significantly. Thank you very much for all the support of our partners. Maybe a lot of people, a lot of gamers in Southeast Asia has heard about Tapjoy, but actually maybe you all don't really know enough about Tapjoy because, frankly speaking, we haven't been putting too much emphasis on this market. And the topic that I'm going to share with you today is talking about how to monetize. I mean, end of the day, we saw a lot of startup stories, we saw a lot of success stories. But end of the day, making a game is like making a movie, making some other businesses, how to be profitable. So I would like to share some of our insights, some of our tips, and also some of the things that we can offer to help you. So just a few slides to introduce about Tapjoy. So you see all the familiar logos, icons of all these games. Basically, they are all our partners. And indeed, we work with 85%, the top 85% of the top grossing apps in the world. Basically, you play with it, you name it, you saw our logo, you saw our offer wall. And Tapjoy is actually, I won't say it's still a startup company. It was started in 2007. We are now sort of moving a much more mature process and organization than a startup. We have offices in San Francisco, multiple locations in US. As I mentioned, in APAC, we have 3 locations, and also a number of offices in Europe as well. So, but if you look at the scale of our network, basically, I would say we have a very, very good coverage in a global sense. We saw a lot of different players in the same field coming up. For the past few years, they have been very successful and concentrating in certain regions. But I think as Tapjoy, what we are proud of is that we have built a very scalable network. We have built a very scalable business across the group. And on a daily basis, we have more than 2 million advertised ad engagement with our users. And we are actually sharing a lot of our profits, over $300 million with our publishers worldwide. And we got a lot of recognitions from around the world, not only in US like VentureBeat, but also in Europe as well as in China and Asia. And I mean, without all your support, I don't think we can make it. And I think we are also always trying to develop better and better technology. Technology not only allows publishers to make more money, but the technology that allows our advertisers to really do much more precise targeting. The better technology, the better ad units our advertisers can utilize, the more earnings our publishers will make. And this is how we position our company. So a lot of game developers, when they first get in the concept of reward downloads and incentivized business model, they always have a thinking that, this is not good for our customers or for our gamers. It will distract their user experiences. It will allow actually downloading other games will divert out the traffic to the other gaming developers. But actually, we have done a lot of research. We have done a lot of sharing with our partners. And looking at the data that they share with us, actually introducing offer war reward type of incentivized model, not only uplift their revenue income by 10 to 30%, but I think more importantly is actually you cultivate user who who will never pay really cash for all the virtual currency that you're offering, but allowing them to cultivate a habit that they can earn free coins. And after a while, these gamers, after they got free coins, they continue to play the games, they will gradually becoming a paid customers. And because, why? Because they're used to it. They don't want to wait anymore. And also by offering free coins to them, virtual currency to them, you extend their time, the play time in the game. And this is all why a lot of Tapjoy partners, after they try out Tapjoy, they recognize that actually our user quality is very high. We have a very high retention rate among the industry. So all these are some of our major partners from China as well as in global. Majority of them are from China. And I think in the ranking in Southeast Asia, especially in Thailand, you will see more and more Chinese companies coming out to Thailand because the user quality, the network quality, everything is very, very suitable for the games. And because of this, actually, all these Chinese partners, they would like to have good inventory. And the reason why I'm standing here today is really we see a lot of requests from our partners in China, pushing us to look at Southeast Asia, and in particular, Thailand. When we first started Tapjoy business in China, in Asia Pacific region, most of the profitable Chinese big players, they make their profit from the North American market, primarily the US market. After 12 months or so, we see a shift. We see a shift of a lot of emerging or big Chinese companies, they look for a second market, which is Taiwan. And this is logical because Taiwan has a very similar culture and logic and language with China. So in the second year in Tapjoy China, we saw a surge in the demand for Taiwan market, as well as the overall ad spend in this market. Then for the past 12 months, we see the shift again from all our big customers, not only to Taiwan, but then they're looking very, very seriously. They are pumping in a lot of money into Southeast Asia. And I'm going to share with you some of the landscape. This is basically from an external report. So in 2017, a lot of third-party market research will indicate that the overall mobile game market revenue for Southeast Asia will be doubled to 2.2 billion. And all of them, basically Thailand will still be the number one, followed by Indonesia and Malaysia. And I think one of the key contributing factors, as some of the speakers, previous speakers mentioned, is the popularity of low-cost Android smartphones. And this is also by and large driven by a lot of Chinese OEMs, may it be Xiaomi or Huawei or some other non-brand Chinese Android smartphones. Thailand, Indonesia, as well as Malaysia will be the three key markets for the coming 12 months for Tapjoy. And we hope to work with all of you to make that happen. So other than the third-party report, I would like to share with you some of the data we have in-house. And this is actually the spend that when we look at the spend from Tapjoy. You see Southeast Asia has been growing for the past 4 quarters in 2014. Basically, it doubled. A lot of demand is from Thailand, as I mentioned, from our biggest Chinese customers. Chinese customers, they contribute about 60% of the spend in Thailand. And there are only 80% is contributed by our top 5 partners in China, for example, Yifan, Fun Plus, ELAX, and all this. But as Roland mentioned and other speakers mentioned, they are more than that. There are more than 5 Chinese players trying to get into this market. So what does it mean? That it means that actually developers in Thailand has an excellent opportunity to earn more by introducing the appropriate advertising units like Tapjoy. I have talked to a number of different developers for the past 2 days. I'm really new to Thailand. I haven't been dealing with the gaming developers before. But what I learned from them is actually they are still putting a lot of emphasis on banner. I wouldn't think banner is not a good thing, but I think I also heard a lot of them reflecting their users' comments about it's quite irritating because it's pushing the gamers to accept certain advertisement messages. And it doesn't do really good for the advertisers' brand awareness as well. And a lot of game developers, they really haven't decided whether they should put in advertising unit in their game. And this is very dangerous because if you don't have a very thorough planning of monetization when you design your game, and at the end, after you roll it out, you want to insert a lot of different elements, definitely it will affect your original user experience. So in the coming few minutes, I would like to share with you how Tapjoy can help and work with all of you to really monetize. And we always say monetize in a smart way, not just putting in different buttons in the screen so that your users will hit it wrongly and then you earn advertising dollars. Because this is the worst thing you want to do, to get and push your customers away. So the first question is really, you know the game, you know the type of game that your team will be building, you know the type of game that your team is very strong in, and you know how to reach out to the users. But then, at the beginning, determine which monetization solution is the best for your game. Because you might be developing casual games, might be developing mid-core or strategy game. And all these different type of games will require a different thinking about monetization, especially using different advertising units. Some may be using FSI, full screen internationals. Some may be just simple offer wall, listing 200 or 300 different type of advertising offers to your gamers. Some may be different. Some may be actually using video to kickstart certain revenue. We have seen the earnings from video advertising has been growing really fast for the past 3 quarters. Not only in the US, but also in Southeast Asia. People tend to attract a lot more about video. And also, I think a lot of concept about video is that you insert certain videos into the game, but actually, a lot of game video advertisement is they play before the game is even launched. So there are a lot of tactics, there are a lot of strategy, and also a lot of technology that help you to decide where to place the different ad units. These are all the different ad units that Tapjoy offered. I think most of you will be very familiar and heard about Tapjoy offer wall, which is like number 1 here. So in the offer wall, we have multiple, I would say up to 200 to 300 different type of advertisement. And Tapjoy business model is very simple. We right from the beginning, we offer choices to the gamers. You decide, I don't want to pay for virtual currency, but I want to continue to play the game. Then you decide to go for free coins. And after you hit the button for free coins, we give you 200 and 300 choices of different advertisements. Some may be related to other games for download. Some may be filling up a form for a financial institution for credit card. Or some may be watching a video about a new Samsung phone being launched or new Whirlpool washing machine. So again, we emphasize on choices. And the users, of course, they want to go to the offer wall to hit the advertisement because they want to earn coins. But out of that, they will pick the one that is most relevant to their interest, most relevant to their curiosity. And I think this is what advertisers are buying in Tapjoy. And the more good advertisement showing up in our offer wall, the more earning opportunities for the publishers because you offer a lot of different advertising choices to your gamers. So as I mentioned, now we not only have offer wall, but we have full screen, both static and dynamic, animated. We, of course, as I mentioned, seeing a lot of growth in the video ads, rich media ads that combine a lot of videos and other elements into one. And we also offer banners. Actually, Tapjoy has basically the whole portfolio of different ad units that appear in a mobile device. But banner, we haven't been pushing really hard. As I mentioned, that this is not a really easy tool to use without irritating or affecting your user experiences. So don't treat all your gamers the same way, because out of a lot of different statistics, only 5% of your gamers will pay through IAP. And those gamers, whether they are whales or dolphins, you have to pay really special attention. And as I mentioned, that introducing them with an advertising unit will basically help them to continue to pay more. But what's most important is actually how you are going to deal with the 95% who is not going to pay. I would really strongly suggest you to try out Tapjoy. The offer wall and the different ad units. We have seen a lot of different statistics, and my team outside, we have a booth. We'll be more than willing to share with some of the case studies, success case studies that we have done. Just two more tips before we close off the presentation. Don't expect that you just implement a earning free coin button will immediately drive your revenue up 3 times or 4 times. Actually, it's more like a promotional project that you have to utilize all your communication channels with your gamers to mention to them that you have this kind of functionality, that they can earn free virtual currencies. Companies like Gru, I think at one point of time, their earnings from Tapjoy is almost the same as their IAP. Kaban is one of our biggest publishers as well. And they push the Tapjoy messages or earn virtual currency messages through their forum, social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you name it. So don't just say that this is a technical solution, I just put a button and then you will be able to earn or uplift your revenue. The second is really involving a lot of the overall design of your user experiences. Make the button more apparent to the users. Make sure they understand that hitting that button, they will be rewarded appropriately. Because otherwise, we see sometimes publishers come to us and ask why we implement Tapjoy. We have a similar game logic with some other companies, but they are making 5 times or 10 times more. And we have a publishing team to help them to go through the logic, to give them suggestions and advices how to change the logic, and how to, one easier way is actually how to change the graphics of the button. Make it bigger, make it more apparent, make it more eye-catching for all your gamers. This is one of the case studies. I think you can get more information outside in the booth. As I mentioned, not only lifting the revenue, but also the play time. I think this is most important to us. and as well as the retention rate. So the last news that actually I want to spread with you is that we offer the Tapjoy ad network to help advertisers to target to the right users, and also making publishers to earn money. 6 months ago, we acquired a company, a Korean-based company called 5 Rocks. So what is 5 Rocks? 5 Rocks basically is a game analytic company. We help game developers to look at the LTV of each users, whether they are real users, whether they are the 95% users, and combining the game monetization IAP perspective together with reward network. You have within one product to decide and to determine when is the good time to introduce different advertising possibilities for your different type of users. You can run A/B testing. You can do a lot of different settings, personalized strategy for different type of users, whether they are VIP, whether they are the 95%. And this is our commitment, Tapjoy's commitment to the developers, that we want to be position ourselves to be a technology company that help developers, especially publishers, to maximize your return and monetization. And with a good pool of publishers, for sure, we will attract even more good quality advertisers. I think this is the key strategy and mission for Tapjoy. So we have a booth outside, as I mentioned, and during this, we don't have any free trial, but we do offer some direct financial support if you want to try out Tapjoy for advertising, user acquisition, or publishing. So please feel free to talk to us. We will be around the whole day, and I look forward to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Let's all go to Tapjoy booth to get that coupon. Thank you.